Hello, good evening. Happy Tuesday. Um,
Happy Tuesday.
yes, happy Tuesday. I am Allison, and on the other, I guess this way, on this side of me is producer Ken, and we are from Gotham Quilts. Welcome to Live with Gotham Quilts. It's Tuesday.
That it is.
Yes. So, really excited for a couple of different reasons to bring this fabric line and these projects to you today. If you saw the email or if you checked the description of this, you'll know that we are bringing you a very fancy, very sophisticated line. This line is called Posh, and it's by BasicGrey for Moda Fabrics. Now, you might not necessarily know the name BasicGrey, but if you have been a quilter or a sewer for any amount of time, I can almost guarantee you've heard of grunge. What do you think about grunge, producer Ken?
I love grunge. Grunge is my favorite color, and it was one of the first colors we got in our quilt store.
Yeah,
So
one
it
of
has
the first
been,
basics.
yeah, the first basics. So it's been, I absolutely adore it. It's just the funnest fabric, and it works so well with almost everything.
Mhm.
So I,
And there's a couple of different reasons for that too. Is grunge is a what I love about it the most is it's a blender. And actually, I think we can probably go to overhead and we can show you some of the grunges. Now, these are just a few of the. I want to say it's something like over 200 different colors of grunge, but it's a great blender. Sorry, I can't. I clearly can't push buttons and do things at the same time. But we'll get the right screen here. And so you can see on the right hand, we've got three different bolts of grunge here. And the reason this isn't really, I wasn't really intending necessarily to talk about grunge and how fabulous it is, but it goes so well with all of the BasicGrey fabric lines because BasicGrey is the designer of grunge. And so what you can see here is you can see it's a fully colorful fabric through and through. And I'll tell you why that's important in just a second, and it is screen printed with different textures on the main side. We'll call it the right side of the fabric here. So you can get like grunge can go really very subtle, like you can see with this fabric here on top. This one's called Black Dress. It can go pretty subtle. But it can also go really wild too. And so, no matter what you're looking for, you could probably find a grunge to fit in one of your projects. So, this one is, I would say, kind of towards the middle to the subtle end. We've got one right below it. I believe that one is called Craft. This one is a really gentle texture as well. But the thing that I love about it is grunge is screen printed. And so for quilt shop owners, what that sometimes means is sometimes we're out of grunge for a while and it takes a while to get that through. Because if you think each different subtle shade of color there is a different screen that has to be printed over the fabric to just get that really depth of color and texture. And then the last one I think is called Cream, Creme. So like the cream inside an Oreo kind of is the way I think of that. And so these three are really very, like I say, on the subtle side of grunges. But if you are a fan of grunge, like we love grunge, go ahead and put it. I see Sandra loves grunge. If you also are a lover of grunge, be sure to let us know. Now, a little secret here is when we first started our quilt shop, when we first started Tiny Apple, a few minutes ago, maybe, Ken loved grunge so much. He said, "You know what? I want to be I want to carry every single color of grunge." And we have done everything in our power to get very close to that goal. We're not quite there yet. There are a lot of different colors of grunge, but we at Tiny Apple do have a giant collection of it, which brings me to the next piece that I'm really excited to bring to you about. So if you will indulge me for just another moment, I'm going to bring you a little bit of good news, and then we can talk all about Posh and the sophisticated loveliness that is Posh. This particular live show with this collection is the first attempt that we have at our automatic porting of products over. So if you remember from maybe 2 weeks ago, we were off last week, but 2 weeks ago, we talked to you about how we're coming along with porting the Gotham website with all kinds of fabulous things that are coming in, new fabrics, new notions, all the things that you need to keep your sewing and crafting in progress. And the answer to that was we had to get a couple of things basically between Tiny Apple and Gotham. We're going to share more or less the same inventory. Now, there are going to be some things that are special and unique to Gotham. And there might be a couple of things that are special and unique to Tiny Apple, but we know that Gotham is very modern and lovely, and we want to just keep that same feel. So not everything is going to be a good fit for the other stores. But as we find the things that are good overlap, like grunge, for example, we had to get on the same inventory system, and then there's an automatic basically feed so that we can keep both websites populated. The fabulous news is that right before Christmas, we moved our inventory over to the system that we were eventually going to use and got that all up and running. This fabric line is the first try for the automatic feed. And so it worked really well, and we'll see how the show goes. But that means we are just one giant step closer to giving you all the things that you know and love about Gotham. And that means fabric, yardage that you could buy, notions that you need, fabulous projects and kits. I've got a couple for you today, but that just means we'll be able to keep your inbox and your mailbox full of all the wonderful things. That was a lot of talking. So, Producer Ken, was there anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think we're excited about the changes and the updates that we've been making, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed. So since we've got the overhead camera here, let's just go ahead and talk about the Posh line by BasicGrey. Now, you know this is going to look great with grunge. And grunge sometimes is that little black dress of the quilting world. One thing before Producer Ken gets into that, one thing I want to tell you about grunge that I completely forgot to say, this is the lovely piece of it, is with grunge, you basically get two fabrics in one. Because your fabric is because the texture is printed on a color of fabric, kind of like a solid, basically, with a little bit of texture printed on the right side, you get basically two fabrics in one. And so when you are shopping, when you're picking a grunge to work with your project, or if you have some grunge in your stash, don't forget to look at the back side of it. So, Producer Ken, if we could switch gears for just a second here, you've got the fabric in front of you. If you want to open up one of those bolts so we could see the wrong side, which is still a perfectly good and usable side. So if you have that grunge in your stash, if maybe all grunge is a little bit too much, or if you just need a little bit of a contrast from that texture on the right side, consider flipping it over and using the wrong side. Now, this one I was telling you that there's a pretty subtle texture here, a pretty subtle print. So the wrong side of your fabric doesn't look that different from the right side. But there you go. And Raquel uses both sides all the time. I love that. We've got very resourceful quilters here at Gotham. So now that Producer Ken has opened up the bolt of fabric, let's go into the reason for the show, and that is the Posh line. Now, this one is a very, it is a lovely, I hesitate to call it low volume. It's bordering on monochromatic. We've got black and gray, cream, and really not much else as far as colors. Certainly, we've got lights and darks of each of those, but this one is just, it brings a breath of sophistication to your projects here. Now, there's a couple of different prints that you'll see over and over again, and the first one here is the dots. and some other dots. I might have not mentioned the taupe, but there is some taupe, which to me is really just like a combination of kind of a brownie and a gray mixed together here. Now this one I'm going to have ask producer Ken to open up. This is kind of the print of the line, and we'll see this a couple of different times in a couple of different colors, and it's just this beautiful, almost monochromatic floral that really this, if you can wrap up the collection in one fabric, that's going to be this guy. So let's leave this one open as we go through the rest of the fabrics here. And we have all of these, if I'm not mistaken, there are 28 different fabrics here. And we've got all of these available on the Gotham website. I'll go ahead and put that up there now. So if you're looking to shop this collection, this link, this QR code is going to bring you to all of the Posh, so the fabric yardage and the projects that you see here. So you can scan or click on that QR code to get directly to the website. Let's go ahead and sort through some of these. Now, this first selection that we're showing you, we kind of broke these out into two different bundles here. So if you're looking for bundles pre-cuts, for example, any of our house-made pre-cuts, so we're talking fat quarters and we're also talking apple peels. Apple peel is going to be a 6-inch width of fabric, 6 inches by width of fabric. These are the dark fabrics. So let's go ahead and whip through this dark bundle here. And you can see just some really lovely, lovely prints. Let's do one at a time so that we see all of these prints together are a little bit much, which is why the grunge added into there looks so very nice. It gives your eye a place to rest. But these powerhouse prints really do make it look lovely. So we can just lay one right over the next. So really what I'm stalling until we get to one of my favorite prints here that we'll see probably in just a second here. You can see the floral design and we're getting pretty close. A little bit of geometric into this when you're bringing in this print here. So we did separate these into a light bundle and a dark bundle. This is the dark bundle, so we're really leaning into the charcoal fabrics, those dark fabrics. It's a really lovely collection. And I love that there aren't too many different prints here. It is really a good balance between those blenders, those dots that we saw at the very beginning of this bundle, the beautiful florals, and then some smaller prints. So there is a really good variety of scale here as well. And we've got a mid-size print here in a gorgeous gray. And then this one, I'm actually going to ask to either zoom in or hold it up a little bit closer. This one is another one that just gives you the feel for the line. This one is a lace print. And so when you're looking at it, it looks a little bit like a fancy stocking, for example, with that lace print there. It's just such a beautiful texture to add to a fabric, and it's really, really well done. So actually, this is probably a pretty good close-up of the fabric. Ken, did we make it through all 14 of this bundle?
No.
No, we've got a couple more here.
Just a couple more.
And then back to some of that textures are more geometric, a really good counterpart to the lace and the flowers. And then this one I just love. From afar, it looks a little bit like trouser material. So it really, like I say, leans into that sophistication. So that was the first bundle that we have. So if you are shopping the Posh line and you see a fat quarter bundle or an apple peel in dark, that's what is going to be there. Not to worry though, we've got lots of pictures on the website so you know exactly what you're getting. Producer Ken, if you want to show the apple peel for the dark, this one, like I say, is 6 inches by width of fabric. If you want to get it a little bit closer to middle. There we go. Beautiful. So apple peels are fabulous, and we did all the math for you in the listing for this. But apple peels are going to be 6 inches by the entire width of fabric, so selvage to selvage. With that, it's kind of like you're getting, like with each strip of this, it's almost like you're getting 2 jelly roll strips, right? You could get 2.5 inch strips out of each 6 inch strip. You could also get 6 inch squares. You could get 5 inch squares. You could even get 5.5 inch squares. And so we just think that it's a really good workable size of fabric to get a lot of different things done. And it's a great way to get a variety of fabrics all together. So here we've got the dark fabric. And let's go ahead and go to the light fabric. And we can probably whip through that one pretty fast here. It's a lot of the same prints that we just saw, just in a lighter colorway.
Yeah.
And so here's that beautiful print again. Same print as I called out before, just now with a lighter background, with that cream background.
There you go.
Beautiful. Yes, it's a really lovely collection. And not to worry here, if you are looking for some of the more standard pre-cuts, we talked about fat quarters, we talked about the apple peels, which are 6 inches by width of fabric. We also have, while the supplies last, I just looked to see if we could reorder, and unsurprisingly, all of the pre-cuts from Moda are all out. But we do have some in stock. With this one, we have layer cakes, which are going to be 10 inches square. So you're going to get 42 pieces of 10-inch square fabric. We also have charm packs, which are going to be 5-inch squares. We're going to get 42 of those as well. And then we have mini charms as well. And if you're not sure what to do with mini charms, I've got a project coming up for you here in just a little bit too. And we also have jelly rolls. So jelly rolls are going to be that 2.5-inch width of fabric. We've got my favorite print, the lace here. This is a more taupey version. So we've got lots of different options for you if you like this line as much as we like this line. And so we've got a couple more fabrics here. Another version of the lace. Now this one is a little creamier, less taupe and more tan for sure. Now, one of the things that we've been working on for the website is a color picker so that you can shop by color or color family more specifically. If you are looking for a blue or a teal or, gray, neutral, cream, any of those colors. And unsurprisingly, picking colors for fabrics is a little bit harder than you'd think. There's some math and some programming that's going on behind the scenes, but it's a fun challenge to work out for sure. As to when you look at a fabric, you could identify it. Like I would identify as cream, even though there's some black and maybe a little bit of brown in there as well. But teaching a computer to do that is tricky, or even sometimes just agreeing at the shop if this is this cream or is this tan? The obvious ones we've got down pat. So with that, I believe that we are at the end of the lights bundle. So this is going to be another 14 fabrics, either in the fat quarter or in the apple peel. Now, there are a couple of things that inspired us for this particular collection. And I'll show you the one. You can see it hanging up behind producer Ken here, but we'll give you just a closer image of that one. And that is the pattern and the project called Perfect Fit. And let me give you a closer version of one of the blocks here. Basically, this is 6 beautiful dresses, all made from this lovely fabric. And what a beautiful dress it is. We were kind of joking around the shop about, the only way for some of us to get a figure like this is to maybe hold the block up over us or lay under the quilt, and then we can just pretend. But even still, it really a very fun project to sew up. So this is going to make a quilt. Oh my gosh, I didn't have that ready. This is going to make, I would say, a small lap size or a really beautiful wall hanging size. This one is, let's see here. I don't have it handy. Okay, let me find it. I'll stall while I find the size here. Here we go. So the perfect fit is going to make a quilt that's 43 inches by 60 inches. And I can go back to the full quilt here. And it really was very fun and easy to sew up. I can't think of anything better hanging up in a sewing room or a bedroom, a dressing room. Raquel, I wish I had her figure. I wish there was a point in my life when I had that figure, but you just gotta love the body you're with, right? In any event, a really fun and relatively easy and quick sew up. It just makes such good use of this particular fabric line, and it brings that sophistication to kind of what you traditionally think of is a beautiful dress shop with lovely, gorgeous dresses. Now, a couple of tips that I can give you if you are planning to sew up this. Actually, first, what I'll do is I'll put the link there if you are looking for this particular quilt kit. Like I said, it makes a 43 by 60 inch quilt, not a bad lap size, and certainly a really good wall hanging size. There is no funny business in this. And by that, I mean there's no applique, there's no foundation paper piecing. This is all made by traditionally pieced methods. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you for something like this, it goes for this one, the Elizabeth Hartman show and tell as well. Any kind of a block where you've got a lot of pieces, any good pattern writer worth their salts is going to give you some square up instructions. They'll throughout the process say, this is what your block should be so that you can move on knowing that you have the right size. This pattern this was written by BasicGrey, is no exception. So if and hopefully when you decide to make this, I do hope that you will follow the instructions and square up the blocks when you need to. It certainly does make a difference. Now, one of the pieces that we found with this one that I just want to call to your attention is that some of the sashing on, or the borders on the block as you're making it, might be just a little bit long. And I think those square up instructions really do help. So if you do find that where you've got something that's maybe a 1/4 inch longer than it should be, not to worry. When you get to the squaring up step, you are all set. But other than that, there's not really much else. It's a well-written pattern. It's a very lovely and easy to follow design. Lots of fun to do. So we're really excited to have this and can't wait to get this I was going to say guy. Can't wait to get this lady quilted. The other project I did say, well, let's see here. We can go to this one here. I did say there was another project that the mini charm pack made us think of, and that is this guy here. And this is a mini charm bag. It's one of our favorite projects here just because of the size and the dimensions of this. So the QR code that you have there is for the entire kit. With the kit, what you're going to get is the fabric to make the whole piece. You're going to get some lovely charms, mini charms. So those are 2.5 inch squares. The fabulous grunge that we look at, this is the craft color, enough for the lining as well. You'll get a zipper and you'll get the fusible fleece. Once you quilt it, it really does have this much stability. This was made with just fusible fleece here. It is a fun little tote to pack in for your toiletries, or if you've got English paper piecing to put in there, any of your little on-the-go projects, this is a perfect size. And so this guy, I had the sizes all pulled up and then I promptly moved on to something else. So I will go ahead and look that up, but it's a pretty good sized bag here and super fun to make. Also, you get the pattern as well. So with this kit, it's going to be fully contained. You get everything you need to make this guy right here. And the mini charm bag, all said and done, is 7.5 inches wide, 6 inches tall by 2 3/4 inch deep. So everything you need there. Now, I don't see that there are any questions. Okay, so I think we're good with that. I really hope that you'll give this particular fabric line a go. If nothing else, just know that there are beautiful, fabulous ways to use grunge and really just kind of gentle, sophisticated prints like this. Now, I will use this as a segue into some of our housekeeping things. Just a reminder of our Stitch Lab. Our January meeting is coming up. And I don't know that I'd necessarily call this low volume, but it's low volume adjacent, I suppose. I guess it really depends on your definition of low volume. But that is what we're going to be attacking and talking about in this month's Stitch Lab. Now, if you haven't received it already, the packages to spark your inspiration about this month's Stitch Lab did go out, gosh, maybe about a week ago at this point. And so you should be getting those any day now. Any new registrants will get that same package. And we're trying something new with Stitch Lab to send out a little gifty gift, a little project pack with each particular month to go along with that particular theme. So do consider joining up for Stitch Lab. It's a great way to build community, to challenge, to maybe break outside of your comfort zone. I've heard, some people, low volume isn't necessarily their thing. Some people, bright colors aren't their thing. We've talked about different stitching, ways to stitch and ways to sew and bring that all. And so you do not have to be a sewer or a quilter. It's open to all stitching kinds. Last call, one of the last calls for the Mystery 5.0. This was our show right before the break. So we've got more information on that it was 2 weeks ago, but it was our last Gotham Live, our most recent Gotham Live. This one is a free 1-day sew along event. The QR code here is to get access to that area where the clues will be dropped. And this is our Mystery 5.0 Facebook group. Even if you can't participate in this one, that's actually going to happen on this Saturday, January 10th. Even if you're busy, you got something else going on. 2 things. 1, the clues will always be available to you, so you can make your own mini mystery anytime you'd like. But also 2, we do mysteries throughout the year. And so this one is a mini mystery. It's 1 day. You are going to make a table runner or door hanger size thing. I think it's like 16 by 40 roughly. Turned out super cute. That is all I can tell you. I'm sworn to secrecy, but you only have less than a week to wait to find out. So if you scan this QR code or click on the link, that will bring you to the Facebook group where all the clues will be held. We also have some, what am I thinking of? We have some we have some fabric packs as well. You are more than welcome and certainly able to use your stash for that. So if you just want to be a self-contained sewer quilter, you absolutely can. If you want to check out any of our fabric packs, either for inspiration before you get started or to give something a go, that would be fabulous. Just click on that QR code. Almost lastly, I will remind you that tomorrow we are having our January thread talk. This is going to be David Owen Hastings. He is going to give us the straight scoop on 10 modern masterpieces. And what I love about this particular one is A, the quilts are gorgeous, and B, it gives a voice to some people that might not always, that you might not have always heard of, but are still nonetheless doing fantastic things in the quilting world. So we are very excited for this thread talk tomorrow. Sign up will close about an hour before it starts. So it's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern time. The sign up closes at about 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you get signed up before about an hour before that one. And last but not least, I will say that Friday is the final day to sign up for Color for Quilters. Those the books and the fabric bundles are going out right now. So last chance to sign up if you are a little nervous about colors, if you get stuck at the fabric store and say, I don't know what to pick, I don't know what colors look good together, this class is for you. It walks you through the different color theory, but not in a schooly way, in more of a practical application way. And so this will rebuild your inspiration and your confidence around picking colors for quilts. It is great if you have, maybe if you look at your stash and you've got like all blues, right? Because it's what you know, it's what you're comfortable with. This one it's got different workshops. We'll call it homework, but it's not necessarily homework. It's sewing, it's picking fabric. So how homeworky could it be? So don't forget to sign up for our Color for Quilters class. The sign up ends this Friday. We've got to close it so we can get the books out. And the classes start a little bit later in January. So if you order it on Friday, we're going to get your book right out, and then you'll be using it shortly after that. But Color for Quilters, it is a great way to learn all the things you need to know about color to make yourself a better quilter or a better stitcher. So with that, I thank you so much for just joining me in what are we at, like an hour of sophistication or so. Tuesdays with Gotham are just, the best days of the week, right? They're the best days of the week. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you liked Posh. Don't forget to register for Thread Talks, and the Color for Quilters class should be a great, great round. With that, I will say I'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then, and thanks so much for joining us. Can't wait to get that website populated. So a little bit of great news. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.